Hi, it's Catalina here. This is a lender video or for loan officers also who want to understand the share of millennial buyers that have entered the home market in the last year or so. And the reason this is so important to talk about is because understanding who your potential buyers are is really important to understanding who you're marketing to, who you're targeting to, who you're predominantly speaking to, what are some of their preferences, and just on the like some pain points of our generation too, right? Like what are our concerns? Obviously, there's a lot happening in our market right now, like inflation, high gas prices. There's a lot of different pressures that are affecting us in the economy as a whole, right? So that's no different by generation, but our generation may have incurred expenses such as student loan debt, other forms of consumer debt. They may be thinking about, a lot of buyers are married, according to the stats. So building a family and homeownership is part of securing your future for your family. So it's a big part of the equation here. So I want to go through this report, and that's the reason I'm screen sharing. So just so you know, a really key statistic I want to highlight that the home buyer market is comprising more and more of millennials. This year, 43% of home buyers, compared to last year when the study was done, it was 37. So the percentage of the home buying market that's consisting of the millennial market is increasing. So we are the largest share of buyers. And what's interesting is with COVID, and the trends with COVID is actually, I don't know if it's only due to COVID, but there's a lot of understanding that our generation wants to go live near urban centers, but that's not true. The largest purchases are occurring in suburban and small town areas. So as remote work is becoming a trend and working from home, just like I'm doing right now, is becoming a thing, then living in a suburban or small town may be quite great for your budget. And you can still work for a big company that may be located in New York or the big cities, but you perhaps don't have to locate your home there and yourself there, right? So I wanted to mention that. So the NAR report found that the share of young millennial and older millennial buyers rose to 43%, as we mentioned, but 2 out of 3 younger buyers found the home they ultimately purchased on the internet. So that's interesting. So, well, actually, I don't know if that's interesting, but it's pretty clear people go search for homes on Zillow and things like that, or Redfin, Realtor.com, right? And that 87% of buyers did use agents. And that's why lenders' best friends are agents, right? But the fact is that younger buyers are more likely to use agents than older buyers. Maybe they have less experience buying. I know I bought my first home, actually my first couple homes with an agent, but now I feel very comfortable going to an open house without an agent. But that's because I'm more experienced now, right? And I'm an older millennial. So that does make sense with the statistics. When you're a first-time buyer, you definitely need more guidance, right? You have more questions. There's a lot of more anxiety around the home buying process. So I wanted to mention that young adults have used the pandemic to their financial advantage by paying down debt and cutting the cost of rent by moving in with families. That's true. I have friends that make decent money and still moved in with their parents to be closer to them during the pandemic and then save for a home. So that is certainly an interesting trend they're pointing out, because it is true among my peer group as well, of my friends. And of course, younger buyers use new tech tools and they're more likely to negotiate rates with agents and buyers. Buyers from all, so this is interesting. I mean, this is obviously in the National Association of Realtors, so they're going to have a lot of data around agents, right? So I wanted to point out, though, that although Generation X have an average of a higher income, they tended to buy and bought more expensive homes, but they tend to buy homes that were smaller in square footage than the millennial generation, who are buying homes of slightly larger square footage. That makes sense. I mean, if you're thinking about forming a family formation, you want a little more space, right? As opposed to your kids are leaving for college and you're now thinking about retirement. So you would want a smaller house, right? You would downsize. So the silent generation is buying homes that are about 1,800 square feet, and our generation, millennials, are buying homes that are 2,400 square feet. So we're upgrading in size and price. Older generations are going for lower price and smaller properties. So out of our buyers, recent buyers, 60% are married, 19% are single females, 9% are single males, and 9% were unmarried couples. That's really interesting. I mean, it makes sense that 60% are married because home prices are pretty high, so you need a double income to be able to afford them as of late in this market. But that more single females are likely to buy than single males. That makes sense. I bought my first two homes as a single female, my third as a married couple. So that certainly makes sense. And the highest share of unmarried couples were younger millennials. This is interesting. The highest share of unmarried couples were younger millennials. Okay, that makes sense. Single female buyers significantly outnumber single male buyers across all generations. I mean, that makes sense to me because, at least for me, like having a place to call home and having an instinct of like wanting to feel the safety and security of a home is definitely more salient to me. If it were up to my husband, he would be perfectly fine renting. He's like, why can't we just rent? I remember when we got married, he's like, why don't we just rent a place for a year or two? And I'm like, I was in grad school at the time, living in some crummy 1-bedroom apartment with like a cork board door for the bathroom. I'm like, no, I'm ready to buy. I'm ready to get in a place. I call it home. I make it feel like home. I can paint the wall whatever color I want because I don't have a landlord. I can finally be in a place that I feel at home, you know? And to me, that was so much more important than my husband. My husband's like, we'll just go experimentally live somewhere. And so I don't want to generalize that I, like other women, are like me, but I definitely felt that very strongly when I hit a specific age. So anyways, I can see, and it's reflected in the statistics as well, right? So the study found that first time home buying among younger generations is on the rise, with over 4 out of 5 younger millennial home buyers, 81% purchasing for the first time, with just under half of older millennials purchasing for the first time. So this idea that our generation doesn't want to buy, we don't want to own anything, we're part of this like co-working and collective use like Ubers and Airbnbs, we're part of this generation. I don't think that applies to a place to call home. I've heard a lot of people, oh, we want to live in co-ops, we want to share spaces, we want to do all this. Of course, we may like community. We want to come to a space that's communal, but it doesn't mean that we don't want to own and have and experience home ownership like any other generation. So I've heard that a few times. It's a complete myth, right? So I just wanted to debunk some of those myths. We definitely want to buy. If we experience a lot of fear and anxiety around buying, it's because we need not just some more information, but also some emotional support, and to have our fears alleviated. With interest rates doubling over the last, less than a year, interest rates from 3 to 6%. We need our anxieties alleviated a little. Just remember, the inflation adjusted interest rate is still negative, which means home ownership is still a positive move towards our future. But also, like in the history of home buying, we're still at a low interest rate relative to what our parents or grandparents were paying. Like as recent as the 80s, interest rates were above double digits. So just reminding us that it's scary now in this moment, but in terms of relative to history, it's the interest rates aren't that high, right? So let me just state a few more points. Younger millennials had a higher share of student debt, I talk about that because I didn't even know I was going to read that before I read it. And the median's about 28,000. So nearly 1 in 3 younger millennials receive down payment help as a gift. So that's interesting. So the hurdles are vast for our generation. But 86% of us ultimately view a home purchase as a good investment. And to just don't rule out our generation. So I just wanted to go over this report. I hope it's been helpful. If you think anyone else can benefit from this information or from learning more about this, please share with them, like, subscribe. We are helping lenders help their borrowers address their student loan debt every day, and boosting purchasing power. So if you'd like to learn more, please visit our website at myloansense.com. We do definitely have a lender tab, invite you to learn more about our product, to estimate boosted purchase power in under a minute. We're on standby to be of assistance. Again, myloansense.com. Every single consumer gets a free plan. Please send them our way. Let us know if you have questions. You can schedule a demo or a chat with us. We will leave the demo schedule link in the description below. Thanks for joining us.